Hey everyone, today we'll go over some earnings and market news as it's fairly pertinent to our trading of cryptocurrencies on this channel. We'll also briefly take a look at liquidation data and some new news on Chainlink before going into our trade analysis. So as far as earnings, Hertz has had great earnings as the travel sector has been rebounding. So long story short for Hertz is that they've been making incremental operating improvements to match the demand for travel increases. So travel increase trends are increasing month to month and is projected to continue. And this also goes for other stocks in the travel and hospitality sector. But since many of the tech giants did not have great earnings this week, such as Google and Apple, and Google and Apple alone comprise of almost $4 trillion, many of the indexes actually dropped. And this is just solely due to the fact that they make up so much of the market cap of many of the US indexes. So we saw some drops in the indexes, which in turn led to drops in the, quote unquote overall market, which then affects the trajectory of Bitcoin, as Bitcoin likes to follow the US markets. So Jerome Powell today repeated his disinflationary process. So this has been stated a couple of times, but it'll depend on the state of the US economy, which also includes the US job markets. And since we had such a blowout of the estimated jobs added, about 517,000 jobs to the estimated 187,000, the strength and health of the market may actually provide further rate hikes and hawkishness from the Fed to reach their target of 2% inflation. So as long as unemployment stays low and the markets are fairly healthy, the Fed is still looking to rate hike until they reach their target of 2% inflation. So in terms of liquidation, it's been pretty standard. We've had a lot of short liquidations here and we saw a move up. In the same way, I do want to see a lot of long liquidations before move down. I want to see smart money grab a lot of liquidity before moving their price to their intended target. So I'm going to go over to Link here. The liquidations have been kind of dying down. You can see that it's kind of apexing right now. Long liquidations are coming down and so are short liquidations. So ideally you want to see a lot of long liquidations here, a big spike before another move down. The Chainlink also announced a new partnership with Starkware, which is a tech firm specializing in scalable blockchain solutions. So any partnerships for any cryptocurrency project is, it's fairly good news in terms of just cryptocurrencies in general. And scalability, i.e. ZK rollups, was the narrative, going into 2023. Overall, this is pretty good news, but I don't think it's anything to really affect Link's price, in my opinion. But overall, the markets are looking fairly good. You can see that a lot of stable coins are red, which is a fairly good sign. That means a lot of money is flowing out of stablecoins and into cryptocurrencies. So overall, markets are looking pretty good, and we'll get into our Chainlink analysis here. So on the macro for Chainlink here, we are just ranging between this macro range that Chainlink has formed. The key thing to note here is that we actually did set a lower low. And I did mention in my last Chainlink video that if we did set a lower high right here, that Chainlink would be looking fairly bearish and we'd come back down to retest the range lows. Currently, we don't have a confirmation of a high. On the weekly, we would need this candle to close right here. So if we do end up setting a lower high right here, a retest of this range low is what I will be looking at for Chainlink. So I'm going to go down to the daily here. I just want to go to the daily real quick to show you guys this order block. So this is the daily order block that I'll be looking at. Oh, this is actually like this right here. This is the daily order block that I'd be looking at. And we had several taps into this order block. We did set a lot of relatively equal highs right here. I'll mark that as REH for relatively equal highs. So I can see price coming back up here to wick out all of these relatively equal highs before coming back down. That is definitely a possibility, but I want to show you guys something on a lower time frame here. So if we go to the 1 hour here, this trade was called on our Discord, but the strategy is the exact same. You wait for your sweep and your change of character, the sweep being the X, the change of character being the Y, which generates your zone of demand. And that's where you take your trade. Once you get a candle close, confirming your change of character, price will come back down to tap into your zone of demand before moving back up. You can see that this has happened just again today. And this has happened, several times. Chainlink has been actually really great to trade for the past several weeks. But we are coiling here. So this is the thing I wanted to show you guys. Let me actually go to 2 hours so we can see a little bit better. Price is starting to coil here. So if we draw trend lines, you can see that generally price is kind of coming to an apex here. It doesn't really have to be perfect. So price is going to come to an apex here before seeing a volatile move. And ideally, when you get apexes like this, you will see manipulation in both directions. So if the true direction is up, you'll most likely see a manipulative move down, wicking out a lot of liquidity, entering some sort of order block before actually moving in its intended direction. So in terms of trades for Chainlink, there are a couple areas of interest that I'm looking at. We are at a dangerous sweeping liquidity, as we do have a lot of relatively equal highs up here. So I want to see some sort of swing failure within this order block, wiping out all this liquidity. The sweep would be my first confirmation, the change of character would be my second, and the retap into supply here, that would be my short trigger and my entry, and my third confirmation into my trade. Trying to enter a trade now, or even on this trend line right here, I believe it's too equivocal, and I don't think it just isn't the best way to really get a lot of confluence for your trades. So this is just where my head is at. This is probably the most important level that I'll be looking out for within this order block. Let's sweep of the relatively equal highs right here, as we do have a lot of liquidity build up. So this is definitely just a very likely area for price to reverse after sweeping out all this liquidity. So overall, my head definitely is short, but if we are to look for any sort of long trade, I probably wouldn't enter many swings or any swings at all until Chainlink's price action reaches somewhere towards the macro range low. Ideally want to watch how it reacts towards the macro range low before entering any sort of long. Overall, just right now my head is short on Chainlink, and I'll be continuously looking for a short entry into Chainlink here. If you guys are interested in live trade callouts, do check out my Patreon in the description down below. And if that's not something you're interested in, I do try to update on YouTube as much as possible. It's just difficult to give updates on all the cryptocurrencies that we trade on our channel on YouTube. But yeah, I will try my best. And if you guys enjoy this type of information, do leave me a like and subscribe. And leave me a comment down below if there are any other cryptocurrencies you guys are interested in. I appreciate it a lot. And thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.